Okay, I think we are live now. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. I'm Sunil Kumar Das and welcoming you all to the Sunil Show. I'm excited to launch our new series, what we call the Project Management from the Scratch. So if you are just starting out your career in the project management and you're looking forward to build your career or you would like to brush up your skills, so this particular series is designed for you. Now, if you have not subscribed my channel on YouTube, the TSS, the Sunil Show, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe my channel to become a part of this beautiful community, the growing community, and this will help you to be update with our latest content. So, without making any further delay, let's get started. So, today we will discuss everything. Let me start sharing my screen, and here we go. Okay. So today we will start our first season, first series where we will discuss project management from scratch. And today, let's understand what and all we are going to discuss here. So first, we have introduction to project management, then followed by the art and science of project management. What is a project? Characteristics of a project, examples, and why project matter. Then we'll understand defining project success. That's nothing but the achieving goal in the real world, and we'll understand mastering the talent triangle where a project manager work in the industry, so followed by understanding the project management life cycles. So today in this 60 minutes of session we'll deep dive into all these points. So let's start with the first thing, and let's get started with our topic. So, introduction to project management. Now, first of all, welcoming you all to the world of project management. Now, let's think, when we discuss about project management, it's like being the captain of a ship, you know. Yeah. So when we talk about project management, it's like being the captain of a ship where you guide your team through the stormy seas. It's nothing but the uncertain requirements and different changes or the challenges where to reach the existing or the planned destination. You know, so whether you are building a tree house in your backyard, or you are building a skyscraper in your city, or you are working on different IT projects, so everything, it's all about project management which make big ideas happen. With project management only we'll be able to make big ideas happen. So now, you just imagine, I'll take you through a real life example where we are celebrating birthday parties. Just imagine you are planning a birthday party. Now, you need to decide different things. The first thing you need to decide here is the theme. Followed by, you need to understand, or you need to have the idea who are the guests will be there. Followed by, you need to create a decoration for your party. you know then you will have to bake a cake for your party, which is associated with some costing part. And now, if we switch our gears little bit, let's try to understand something different. Think of something like very bigger. You like building a bridge. So it takes teams of engineer, architects, and construction workers where they work together to make things happen, or to build that bridge or road or the construction. You know, so what they have now, they have the detailed plan in their mind, they have the resource list, they have the requirement, they have everything that they need to work on. So that's when you will start working on this one. Or after this, you think of a big massive IT project you would like to build. Example, you would like to build an application similar to Amazon where you would like to make your presence in the e-commerce world. So that's again a big project. If you would like to build anything like travel applications like Uber or Ola, that's again a big project. So anything that you consider, so it requires programmers, designers, testers collaboratively working together to make things happen. They have to work on different things, right? So end of the day, we have to meet the goal with the deadline and along with the budget. So we have the scope in mind. So combining everything, we say it's all about project management, which makes big ideas happen. You know. So when we try to summarize, if I put project management in my own word, project management involves using specific knowledge, you know, abilities, tools, methods to carry out project tasks effectively and achieve the project goal. Now, when we try to understand what are the different components that we have in project management, and the first component that we have is knowledge. Without knowledge, nowhere we can't do anything, right? Similarly, here in project management, we require knowledge. So, what kind of knowledge? So, understanding the project management principles, methodologies, and standards. Then the second component that we require, skills. Now, knowledge and skills both are similar, but skills is nothing but you are well versed with something, like you have the competences in project planning, executing, and managing projects effectively. The third one, the third component what we have called tools and techniques. So utilizing various tools, we have to use different tools like Jira for project management tool. We have communication tools like MS Teams, or we use Slack or other various tools. Similarly, we have to prepare documentation, Gantt charts, project planning, project milestones. So that's when we say tools and techniques. Now, when we say frameworks or the different techniques we have, either you follow waterfall, the traditional methodology, or based upon the project requirement, you use agile, waterfall, scrum, Kanban. So these are nothing but the three components of a project management. What are these? To summarize, we need to have knowledge, skills, and tools and technologies. Now, to summarize the project management in key, some few words, where ideas transform into reality. So, utilizing project man, you transform your idea into reality. Then, challenges become opportunity. With effective project management, you transform the challenges into opportunities. And the third important work is we work with people. So people execute the projects. That's why you say teamwork drives success. You know, Now, let's understand the second thing, the art and the science of a project management. Now, when I say art and science, we need to understand, you as a project manager, you need to work with people. You need to understand technicality as well as the art is nothing but the communication. You need to have the leadership skills. You need to build relationship with people. Then that's when it's nothing but science and arts. So project management is about planning and organizing work to achieve specific goal. We need to remember this thing. It's all about planning to achieve something goal, some common goal. Now it involves two main aspects. So first thing is nothing but your science and then arts. So the science part mostly involves the tools, techniques, skills, and methodologies. However, the art part is nothing but your communication, leadership, and your relationship building. How do you motivate your team to achieve the common goal? Now, when you combine both this, that's when you say you are doing effective project management, or you become an effective project manager. Yep. So hope this part is clear. Now let's move in to understanding what is a project. So let's go ahead and understand the definition of a project. Now, in simple definition, a project is nothing but temporary endeavor. When we say temporary endeavor, it has it's not ongoing work. It has a defined start date and end date. So a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product. Either you're planning to build a product, or either a service, or obtaining a result. Now it has specific goal, right? The important thing we need to understand, it project has specific goal that we need to achieve. Similarly, it has defined beginning and end. That means a start date and a end date. So let's say I'm planning to start a project on September 2024, which will last till September 2025. That's the duration we have. You know, then usually involves a team working together to achieve that goal within certain constraints like time, cost, and resources. So when we work on a project, we need to remember it has defined start date and end date. And the different resources that we need, or the constraint we need, is we have defined time, we'll have limited budget, and will involve resources. Now to break it down again, when we talk about resources, it could be human resources, it could some materialistic thing, it could procurement of some materials, softwares, licenses, or third party involvement. So that's whole together as a resource. Now this is what the generic discussion, the generic definition of what a project is. Now let's deep dive into what the professional organizations say about it. The first thing what we have is Project Management Institute, PMI. Now, according to PMI, the project as a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or a result. Similarly, Association of Project Management, that APM, it says project as a unique transit endeavor undertaken to achieve planned objectives which could be defined in terms of outputs or outcomes or benefits. Now, the International Project Management Association, IPMA, says project as a temporary, unique endeavor with a specific start and end undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Last but not the least, Prince 2. It says project as a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. Now this is little different, but the whole holistic view is same. you know so when it says a temporary organization is nothing but different cross-functional team come together to work on the specific goal or the common goal. You know, and lastly, it mentioned one term called business case. We will, going forward, we'll understand this one. Now, business case in simple term for the instance is nothing but a document which justifies why do we need this project, what problem statement, or the what is the problem statement that we are going to solve, right? So that's what the business case is all about. So hope you clear about the project. Now let's go ahead and understand the characteristics of a project. So when we say characteristics, what it takes to build a project, you know so understanding characteristics is much important here. So as a project here, there are three defining characteristics what we have. The first thing is it is temporary in nature. The second part is it is unique or which produce unique deliverables. The third what we have specific goals and objective. So that's what we discuss now. Now when you have a project, it's two things to come in your mind is temporary in nature, then unique deliverables, and the third one is it has specific goals and objectives to meet. So when we say temporary in nature, what exactly is that? Now the project have a defined beginning and end, and that's what make it a temporary. Now it's not ongoing work. If you talk about operations, right, it's ongoing work throughout the year, throughout the business life cycle, it will continue. But the project, it has a start date and end date. It's temporary. So they are not ongoing like operations, but rather are finite duration, whether it's weeks, months, or years. Now let's say you are building on a personal example. You are creating planning your birthday party event, or you're planning a family picnic. Now you'll have a start date and you'll have an end date. When you start, reach the destination, enjoy your period, that vacation period, and come back to home. That's when you have a definite time. Now let's say you're planning to build your house, construction of a house. You will take either months of time, let's say down the line of 6 months or 7 months, you would like to complete that, or you would like to build a bridge, or something like the telecommunication tower. So everything will have a start date and end date. Now the second thing is unique deliverables. So every time we work on a project, we have certain problem to solve, certain goal to achieve, and that's what makes it unique. So end of the project, you will produce some deliverables, some outcome that's unique. Let's say you are building, now I'm utilizing this digital pen. I'll consider this as a brilliant example. So if this is what I'm producing, so I'll have a start date and end date, and end of the day when I work on it, it takes first thing this plastic cover, and we have some micro digital chips here which it enables this to interact with the laptop or any digital board. So that's what a new product end of the project I built, you know and the specific goals and the objective. Now when we talk about this, anytime projects are undertaken to achieve specific goals and objectives, these goals are typically defined in terms of scope, time, cost, quality, and other parameters. Hope you're clear with the characteristics of project. So how many characters a project has in general? Three. One, temporary in nature. Second, unique deliverables. It produces unique deliverables. And third, specific goals and objectives. Hope it is clear. Now, it's very, very important to understand examples of project. As I have given this digital writing pen as an example. Similarly, let's understand few other industry examples as well. So let us deep dive into construction, technology, events, marketing and advertising, R&D, and infrastructure. You know, so when we talk about these particular examples, so when we go for the construction, so constructing a new house, constructing a new organization or commercial building, that's a project. It has a start and end date. Similarly, when you planning to build a bridge, you know, through government initiatives, we build bridge or highways. That's again a construction project. And when you go for, let's say you have an existing infrastructure, you would like to rebuild it or renovation of any existing building, that's again a project. Now when we talk about construction, technology, building a mobile application, building a web application, these are nothing but the projects, right? So when we go ahead and discuss about event, so we all are associated with events, some marriage functions, some thread ceremonies, some birthday party, so all these are events. It has a start date, it has an end date. So again, it's a now when we talk about launching your marketing and advertising campaign, let's say you started a startup. For that startup, you need to showcase, you need to market your business. What are the unique products you have, services do you offer? You need to run, you'd like to run a marketing campaign, so it will have a start date and end date. And the goal is nothing but acquire customers, or let people know about your business. So that's again, end goal that we have in our mind. Now, when you go for some infrastructure or building a plant, that's again a project. Now, Indian Railway, if you talk about, so they have their projects, this railway tracks and everything. So that's infrastructure. All right. Hope you're clear. As of now, we have discussed the basic things. Hope you are clear about this one. Now, let's understand something very important. Why projects matter. Why projects matter? Why do we do? Why do we build projects? What's the benefit of it? Let's understand the how, the why, and when. So when we talk about projects matter because they like building the building blocks of progress and innovation. Now, being in Indian market, so India has produced built lot of new things. They have produced lot of goods, and they are working on lot of innovative projects where we say make in India, make in India digital. So all these are nothing but are building blocks of for progress and innovation. So we wouldn't have new inventions, exciting events, or even basic infrastructure like roads and bridge without the project. So what takes that to build a project? So when we talk about the first thing we need to understand, why do we build projects? Why does it matter? Because innovation, because of innovation. And you would like to do something more, something very innovative, and you would like to compete with the world. If you are being an organization, you are launching a new product, you are in the innovation path. Why do you are going for this one? The reason being is you would like to compete in the market. You would like to stand alone, stand out in the market. Similarly, either you're planning to solve some of the problems that existing in the world or existing in your community. That's when you would like to build a project. Either you would like to go for a change management. Let's say you are working on a process with a process A, and you would like to tweak something where it will reduce the manpower and enhance the productivity. And that's when you introduce some change into that. Again, that's a project. So it's a change management. Now, strategic alignment. So when we talk about strategic alignments, projects align with organizational goals and objectives. So one we have, let's say you have a vision. Let's say you are at the market of $4 billion. Now you would like to stand out. What mission you have, you like to put it into the action. That's where strategic alignment comes in. Similarly, resource optimization, risk management, cross-functional collaboration, stakeholder engagement or enablement. Similarly, performance improvement, customer satisfaction, and social impact. Now, these are some of the broader category because of which you work on project. So Projects matter because they are the catalyst of progress. We need to remember this thing. Innovation and positive transformation in our lives and communities. They provide the framework and the opportunity to run ideas or the turn into ideas into reality and shape the future for a better way. You know, hope this part, the why projects matter, is clear now. So as of now, we have understood what exactly the project management is and what is the project, the art and science of a project, the key characteristics of a project, and why projects matter. You know, let's understand when we are working on a project. So how do we define the success criteria when we say the project is success? So to understand this one, we have some key parameters. Now, the first parameter what we have is time, then cost, then quality. So let's understand according, utilizing these three, how are we defining the success criteria for any project? You know, so when we discuss about this one, the first thing, when we say project is success, the dreams are met or dreams come true or the goals are met, you know, and challenges conquered. Now you understand this, you have an idea in your mind and you would like to make that happen. So when you say it is success, now when within the given timeline you achieve the common goal, right, and within the given budget you are able to produce whatever you would like to, or within that budget scope, as well as the quality, with a good quality you are able to produce that one. So that's when you say your project is success. So eventually these are the three key parameter where it defines the success criteria. So the first thing is time, quality, and cost. Now let's understand more about it. So when we talk about time, it is a critical aspect. We all know time is money, right? So it refers to the duration it takes to complete the project from start to finish. Now let's say today you have started a project and it will finish on, let's say, December 2024. So this is a particular duration. If you are able to accomplish all your goals within this duration or this planned duration, you say your project is success. Similarly, we have cost. Now, when we have cost or dollar value, right? So, money matters, right? So, keeping your project within budget is a big part of the success. It's about managing the resources. Again, resources is nothing but the human resource or any third party, or you purchase something, the goods, any other resources. So it's about managing resource wisely and making sure you don't overspend or waste money along the way. So if you are able to achieve everything, your goal, your product, your service within the budget, you say your project is success. Similarly, the third point is quality. Quality matters. To stand out in the market, your product or service has to be masterclass. Now success isn't just about finishing it. All need to remember you have everything, and it's not about just complete the project. No, it's beyond that what it is. So it's about finishing well, right? It's not about only finishing but finishing well. So delivering a high quality outcome that matters, that meets the exceeds expectation, is essential. We need to understand. So it should be a high quality outcome which meets and exceeds the expectation. And that's when we say, so it's about getting the job done right without cutting conscience or compromising on standards. If you compromise on standard, you probably, you may complete the project within the time, within the budget, but you compromise on the standard, eventually your project is failed. So you have to ensure it exceeds as well as meets the expectation. So these are the three important parameter that we have. So let's take an example. Now think of a smartphone. We all use smartphone, right? If it is launched before the holiday season, you win. So that's when you are planned to launch. If you are able to you fail to in order to launch that before the holiday season, then your sales are gone. So time is important. Similarly, when you go for budget, now consider a movie production. Let's say you try to produce a movie for particular event. We have a lot of events. So within which, if you are able to produce that movie and release and people watch on that particular event, you say it succeed. That budget, within budget. Similarly, you go for launching or opening a new restaurant, right? If the food is delicious, the service is great, and people keep coming back, it's success. That means you have the project in place, and eventually you meet the expectation, the standard. That's when you are gaining customers. If you compromise on the quality part or standard, you lost the business. So these three parameters are important, and these three defines the project success. Now, given the dynamism of the project landscape, we may have other parameters as well. But the important thing here is time, cost, and quality. You know, Hope this is clear. Now let's understand something very, very important. We always think of how to become a project manager. If this is a big question in your mind, you need to understand one thing: this talent triangle, what it takes to become a successful project manager. Regardless of this project management role or any job, let's say you would like to become a singer. We have different genres there, right? You need to understand in which language. Again, you need to understand which genre, what it takes to become that level of singer. There's a lot of things. Similarly, if you'd like to clear any public service examinations, IPS, IAS, IFS, what it takes. Similarly, you have to understand the key parameters, right? So different syllabus, and what are the different syllabus, your strengths, your interest, what are the compulsory things or the mandatory subjects, what are the optional subjects, how well you can manage both. So similarly, when we talk about project management, here we need to understand one important thing is this triangle. And this triangle, where it says the talent triangle represents the key skills. Remember this one. Why we need to understand this talent triangle? The reason being is it emphasizes on key skills and competences required for successful project management. It consists three pillars. The first one is your leadership. The second one is your technicality about the project management. And the third one is the strategic business management. Now let's dive into it, what exactly it is. So the first part, when we talk about the leadership part, okay, so leadership is guiding force. Now leadership comes under you. If you remember, just now we discussed about the art, right, and science of the project management. So it comes under the art. Art is nothing but how well you are building relationship with people. Eventually, who are going to work on the project? It's people, along with the constraints. So you have to be well versed with the leadership skills, where you effectively communicate the objectives, the requirements, do's and don'ts. You effectively build relationships with your team. You manage conflicts effectively. So there are a lot of things under leadership skills. So the first pillar is understanding the leadership. Now it is the guiding force and motivation pillar, where it will help your team to achieve success or meet the common goal. That's one of the pillar you need to learn. Second is your technical program management. When we say technical, it's not about understanding any Java, Python, Node.js. It's not about that programming languages or any other technical. It's all about project management skills. Certainly, if you're working on a software project where it is based on completely new to the market, or you need to involve with the technical team more, right? That's when you need to understand some of the technical things. When you as a project manager, you communicate with all the stakeholders, so you need to understand their language. You need to able to decode that. So that's when you need to have some basic understanding of the technical jargons. But when we talk about technical project management, you need to have the methodologies, the techniques, that tools. So you need to be thorough about that. So that's we call as technical project management. The third is strategic business management. And when we say the strategic business management, so one thing is very, very important here. Strategic is all about business, the domain, the strategies, and the vision. You, let's say you work in the IT industry, you work for certain organization, a particular organization, company ABC. You need to understand the business, the nature of business the company is into, and that's when you will be able to understand the project and the holistic view. Once you understand the business and the strategic management, it will help you to enable the project to the success. You'll be able to relate the things. So these three are very, very important things. So one, first we have, by leveraging business acumen, project managers, we as a project manager, we ensure projects contribute to the overall success of the organization. Because every time we do, just now we discussed, why do we do projects? Either to go for, to solve a problem, to change management, risk, strategic alignment, or to acquire customers, some tangible or non-tangible benefits. So understanding business and strategic management is much important. Okay, so here are the three important, just to summarize this slide, we have three important things to understand to become an effective project manager. One is the leadership skills, second the technical project management, and the third is strategic business management. you know Now, every time, I often get this question, so you as a project manager, where do you work, what do you do, with whom you work? So that's what it motivated me to put this slide. So where in the organization does a project manager work? Now when we say where, now I would like to give you an example. You as a project manager, you may work in the consulting firm, you may work in service industry or the product industry, you may expose in terms of the matrix organization or the functional organization or a PMO driven organization. So it's completely different. But you need to remember, you as a project manager, you may work in the project management office, we call it as a PMO, or you work in any department as a liaison, as a bridge, or you work with cross functional team, right? So you as a project manager, you coordinate within cross functional teams. You may work on a client facing role. Let's say most of the consulting firms, if you're working or a consulting nature business, you as a project manager directly you will be work with the customers. you know Similarly, now given the new trend, you may remote or virtual team, or you may support other business. Now you may work in a department closely with the executive leadership. If they have initiated any strategic alignment projects, you as a project manager deployed there directly to work with the, let's say, CFO of the company, or chief information officer, CEO of the company, or the CTO of the company. So these are the executive leaders. Then you may, as I mentioned, consulting firm or agencies, and based on requirement. The reason being is, you never know what requirement we have at an organization. So certainly there'll be an opening and they'll hire a project manager. So if you ask where in the organization a project manager work, it depends on the nature of the project and why they have initiated that project. So accordingly your job role will be. Okay, hope till this part it is good. Okay, now let's understand something very important, the project management life cycle. So we as a human being, we have a life cycle. We all understand, we take birth, then childhood, then we go to school, we complete our education, we complete our secondary education, we go to college. So all these phases, then we get a job, we get married, and then we start building our own family, then we die sometime. So the way we eventually, from a part one, a point A to point Z, we move on. Now, for project management also we have different stages. Now let's break it down. So it is very, very important to understand these phases. you know so the first thing is the initiation phase. Okay, when we say, again, when we say the initiation phase, it's all about, you need to identify a problem or a common goal. You need to jot it down. So the first initiation phase, where you identify the requirement, Okay, so the first phase where the project's need or a problem is identified and a solution is proposed. Okay, so let's quickly take an overview. Like first we have initiation phase. That's the first. Second, we have planning phase. Third, we have execution phase. Fourth, we have monitor and control. Fifth, we have initiation closer phase. It should be the closer phase. Okay. So how many phases we have? We have five phases. Now let's go ahead and understand each phase one by one. So the first phase, as we discussed, the problem is identified. Let's say you are working as a marketing manager, okay, or chief marketing officer, where you have identified some problem within your organization or some tools they are not efficient or outdated. Now you as a chief marketing officer, you would like to update that or move out of that and revamp that tool or get something new to it. So that's the problem you have identified. Now you have to jot down the solution. What is the solution? Okay, let us migrate to some other version of this any existing tool. So what is that? Either you go for a third party integration or you would like to build it. So that's when you have identified a solution. Okay, let's you did a buying versus build analysis. You identified, okay, let's buy this one. So the problem statement was here to upgrade your marketing solutions, and you identified the problem, then you have proposed the solution. So that's the initiation phase. In this phase, we identify the problem and we propose the solution. Then in order to once we identify the problem, we do the need assessment, right? And during that, we recognize a specific problem, opportunity the project is meant to address, right? Then define the project, and that's when you define the project. Here project is nothing but the solution. So outline what project will accomplish, right? Now engage stakeholders. You as a marketing officer or the chief marketing officer, you need to engage the other stakeholders. Let's say identify people, groups or organizations that have an interest in this project outcome and involve them in the planning process. Because you as a marketing officer, you are facing problem on this one, and in order to have that marketing standards, you need to definitely upgrade your systems. So that's when you'll reach the maximum output or the outcome. So you need to understand who are the different personnel gonna impact with this project. So you need to understand them. Either the IT team or the sales team or the project management team. So involve all the stakeholders here. Now develop a project charter. Now this is very important. When we say this project charter, it is nothing but it is one set of document. Okay, it is one of the document which formally authorizes the project, outline the project scope, objective, and participants. So it is one of the requirement of a PM that you need to understand these documents. You need to understand what it takes to build these documents, whom you should coordinate with, and what and all you should keep in this document. So in an overview, we keep the project scope, then objectives, the problem solutions, and the participants. And if we extend a little bit, we may go for the project governance. Who is responsible for this one? The RACI matrix, we overview of that we put it, and the something about the budget. So as per your project's requirement, you go ahead and do that. Now, in this initiation phase, what you do, you identify the need or the need assessment, you jot down the problem statement, you engage with the stakeholders, and you create a project charter, which will help you to formally authorize the project. Now, from there, you move to the other, phase. What's the other phase? That's called the planning phase. Okay. So this is the second phase of your project. Now, in this planning phase, what do you do? As the naming convention, as per the naming convention, you plan it. What do you plan it? Because planning takes lot of things, Let's understand that. So it covers developing a project management plan that guides the execution and control phase. Now, planning is nothing but you need to plan how do you execute it. Let's say you would like to integrate some third-party tools. So you need to understand who is the vendor, how much the cost will be, how do you integrate that, what is the requirement of your current system, and how feasibly you can integrate it. Now, do you need some changes in your existing system so that easily the third party tool can integrate? That's again the planning, you know. And you need to know how can you build your database. Now, will you expose your internal database to the third party? You allow them to store your data, or you will just use that interface along with your internal database. How do you do that? What kind of server you will use, right? So all this comes into planning. How many resources you need to work, you need to deploy on that project, right? So everything comes under planning, and for each of these things we'll create the document. And it is the phase where you do the risk assessment. Now when we talk about risk assessment, you forecast, you foresee what are the negative and positive things can happen. Remember, going forward we will discuss risk is always not negative, it's also positive. We'll come to that aspect. So you need to understand both the verticals, positive and negative risks. You need to outline. Now during this phase, you need to assign the roles and responsibilities. Who is responsible for what activity? Right? For that, you can create a RACI matrix. Now, let's come to here this point. So when we go ahead and plan, we set objectives. So clearly define what the project is supposed to achieve. That's what the planning. Now, create a project management plan. This is one of the important document for every project, and project managers must learn this one. How to draft the project management plan. So, develop a comprehensive document that covers all aspects of the project, from scope to schedule to budget to communication to risk assessment, risk management, and quality control. As we discussed, planning should take all these as parameters to consideration and work on that. You know, then allocate resources. So while allocating resources, you determine the budget, because as we mentioned, resource could be of human resources, or you need to procure something. Software licenses, it's again a resource. Third party tools, let's say you're working on some of the SMS gateway. Those are, you're building an application, you need SMS gateway, you need payment gateway, you need to integrate that. Again, it's a resource. So resource is nothing but, for that you need to understand the budget. Then example, you would like to hire some contractual basis to accomplish that temporary work. So if you are going to hire a temporary contractual worker, so for what time, what will be the budget, then equipments and materials that needed. So everything comes under resources, and you have to allocate that. Now, the second part, the third part is, as we discussed, risk management. So identify potential risks, assess their impact, and mitigation plans. Remember, again, we will discuss this in detail, but risk, when we go for risk management, we have three important parameters. First, what is that risk? Second, what's the impact of it? If it happened, if it occurred, what level of impact it will create? Third, how do we avoid, mitigate that, the mitigation plan or the contingency plan? We have to have three things. Okay. Now, then we have established timeline. Planning is nothing but identifying the duration. You define everything, then you associate time with that, because project, as we discussed, project is temporary. It cannot be ongoing tasks, activities. So develop a detailed schedule for when tasks need to be completed. Let's say you identify to migrate your particular system. This is system 1, and in order to achieve that, let's say this is the system 2 you would like to achieve. So system 2, now in this system 2 you have to do 5 activities: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each activity will run for 10 days. Okay. Now, how many days of this entire project? It's nothing but total 50 days. That's when you have to identify each activity, how many days it will take, what's the timeline. You need to associate with that. And you need to remember, always it's not like projects will go either to your timeline. No, given the uniqueness or the nature of the project, it may vary. And that's when you need to go for other phase that we'll discuss later. So the first is initiation phase, second is planning phase. Hope it is clear as of now. Let's move to the third one. Now, from the planning phase, we come to the third phase, that's called the execution, actual work. So this is the phase where actual work is being done. If you are building a mobile application, this is the phase where you will execute it, you will code, you will develop it. If you are building a house, this is when in this phase you go ahead and build that construction. If you are building a skyscraper, also in this phase you start working on that. So your contractors, your engineers, they start come together and work to build that or make that happen. So this phase involves, what is that? This phase involves coordinating people and resources, managing stakeholder engagement, and integrating and performing the activities necessary for completing the project deliverables. Project deliverable is nothing but to achieve or to build that house or to develop that mobile application or to migrate that database. What exactly required that deliverables? So that's the common goal towards the people or the resources that work together. So you as a project manager, now in this phase you need to work with the people. you know so you need to coordinate with the people and resources, managing stakeholder engagement. You need to touch base with the stakeholders. So stakeholders should share their point of view, their thoughts, their feedback. Now, you as a project manager, what direct and manage project work. So this is the phase where the actual work being done. So guide and manage the project's work according to the project management plan. So how do you do that? What strategies you follow? Which plan you follow? Now, whatever plan you have outlined in the second phase, that the planning phase, those will come as an input to this phase. Input is nothing but you follow those documents, those minutes of meetings, those outlines. Then you coordinate with the team and the resources. So ensure that team members have the tools and resources they need and are clear of their tasks. Then implement quality management. Quality management is one of the biggest thing we need to do as a project manager. So what is that? Quality management is all about check marks, putting checkpoints. Now, if you are producing something, you need to check the standard. If you are writing the code, you need to assess how robust the code is, the sustainability of it, or reusability of it. you know then communicate. Please mark this one. This is the essential thing that you as a project manager can do. So effective communication. You need to update the stakeholders with the progress. You need to communicate the objective, the requirements to the your resources, like human resource, your team members. Anything happen, any escalation happens, you need to work with the team. Any conflict happen, you need to work with the team. If you are within the budget, within the timeline, or your project's going well, you need to communicate to the stakeholder. If something is not going good, you need to communicate to the stakeholder. you know so communication is key. It's all about keeping everyone involved, and they all need to be on the same page. They need to understand what exactly it is, right? So this all about executing, execution phase or the executing phase. Now, something important is monitoring and control. Now, you need to remember one thing: this phase is not different, right? It is alongside of your execution work. Parallelly, these two phases will go. You assign one task, people are working on particular activity. Now, you need to monitor, you need to control what exactly it is. So, it involves tracking the project progress to identify any deviation from the plan. So, you need to keep a track of the progress. You know, you need to keep a track of the resource availability, the capacity. So track progress, regularly check project performance against the project plan. Okay, today we need to develop, five things. Are we end of the day we made this or not? If we didn't, then what is the reason? Right? So you need to keep a progress, keep a track of the progress. Then manage changes. So team is assigned with five activities for the day. They have already accomplished third activity, and for the fourth they have customer came up with some changes. So you as a project manager, you need to manage the change. So apply a formal process for changing the project scope, schedule, and budget. There may be change in the scope, maybe change in the schedule, maybe change in the budget. So these three parameters, you as a project manager effectively take control of these things. So then adjust plans as needed. Again, plans are not it's not rigid. It has to be flexible. As we all know, we are walking towards a common goal, and given the dynamism of the market, things will change. Certainly you as a project manager, you need to take care of that. So how do we do that? Going on our upcoming classes we will learn. So adjust plans as needed, update the project plans to reflect necessary changes, and ensure project objectives will be met. Now, from this you understand that project management plan is a living document. It's a rolling ball, but every day it should be kept updated, and you as a project manager ensure it is being updated every now and then. It's not like you created on the day one and you will revisit that to the under day end. No, every day you need to revisit that, make necessary adjustments, and share that change with all the relevant stakeholders for the update. Okay. Now report performance. This is one of the other parameter that we have. So report performance, what does it mean? Provide performance and progress report to the stakeholders. Either this comes under the communication plan. How do you communicate with the updates, with the progress to the team? Either every end of the day, or weekly, or monthly, or bi-weekly, or bi-monthly, or 6 months, or yearly. It's important. So, and the last phase is closing phase. Closing phase is nothing but, let's say you worked for almost a year on a project, and you are approaching to the deadline. So that's when we say closing the phase, or closing phase, or closure. What happens in this project? Now this includes completing all project work, finalizing client acceptance of the project's outcomes, and receiving what was and was not successful in the project. So here in this phase, you understand, or you take all the deliverables, project work, tangible, non-tangible, everything. Now, if you are building a mobile application, the code base is your output. The manuals, user manuals, is your code base. Is your project deliverable. The documents, the SRS document, FRS document, RAS metrics, project plan, project charter, risk analysis, rate document, feasibility study. So whatever documents you take, all those comes under the project deliverables. And you have to create some user manual how to use that application. That's again under a project deliverable, right? So you take care of all this project work. Now finalizing client's acceptance of the project outcomes. Now remember this: output and outcomes. So client will accept those. Hey, according to our plan this happened, right, tick 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 tick. Last 2 points we are not able to meet, so we have to accept that. So that's also the project outcome, and reviewing what was and was not successfully in the project. So complete final task. Make sure all project tasks are finished and the project has met its objectives. That's very, very important. Then close contracts. So formally, the way you have initiated the project through the business case or the project charter. Similarly, now you have to put an end to the project or close to the project through formal closing documents, project closure documents. If you have acquired any vendor, you have to end the contract formally. smoothly. You have hired a freelancer to work for you, you have to give a closure to that, right? Now, conduct a project review. It's nothing but evaluate what went well, what did not, documents lessons learned. Now, this is the process where you reflect on whatever you have done for the last 1 year or that duration, project duration. You know, so you understand what went well and what did not, and you create a document and put it in your lessons learned repository. It is very, very important. You know, then archive project documents. Everything, zip it and put it in your repository. Okay, so this is what the closing phase. So to summarize, how many project phases we have in the project life cycle? So total five. One, the initiation phase, where we initiate the project by understanding the problem statement and putting a solution to that. Second, planning, where we plan about the project, the resources, budget, time, and everything. Then we execute it, where the actual work is being done. Okay, execution phase, and you code as a project manager, you coordinate with people, resources, stakeholders to make that things happen, the work happen. And the fourth one is your monitoring and controlling phase, which goes alongside the project execution. The both third and fourth go concurrently. The fifth and last, but not the least, is closing phase, where you put a formal closure to your project. Project. Yeah. So that's the fifth phase. You know, hope we are able to discuss the things, and let's quickly recap what and all we have discussed. Now, we started with our small introduction to project management. Then we understood the art and science of a project management. What is a project? Characteristics of a project, examples of a project, why project matter, defining project success, achieving goals in the real world, mastering the talent triangle, where in the organization does a project manager work, and last, we discuss about understanding the project management life cycle. you know so with this, our first introduction to our project management from the scratch series is over. Let me quickly stop sharing my screen. Okay, I think, yeah, I think we covered pretty much the basic things. Now, next session, the coming Saturday, we'll understand something new, where we'll deep dive into the key phases, the required deliverables, and we'll discuss some other topics. So stay tuned, and thanks everyone for watching this session. And if you have not subscribed my YouTube channel, TSS The Sunil Show on YouTube, so I encourage you to go ahead and be a part of, and the growing community. Subscribe it, like it if you really enjoying these videos, and talk to you later again. Then thank you, and we'll be with a new episode once again. Thanks everyone. Thanks for your time. Talk to you later again. Then bye now.